money, wealth, assets, opportunities even that you may lose.
You must ask yourself if you love the people, because the only thing that can bind you to the people you serve is love. Ambition is not enough.
I have discovered the power of kindness, and that has made me a radical optimist. That's why I stay away from politics and from religion.
Countries that take unilateral action or coercive action.
Actually like Pinoy personally.
It's not a beauty contest who's ahead of who, but to...
Once upon a time, we were all irrelevant. And I sincerely believe that there will come a time we will all return to the dark embrace of irrelevance.
Martin's Mancave.
You wanna hear me sing? You better play that sax.
Don't mind if I do. Flirt, ease, and sex, baby. Moving down one spot of the week. Hope you guys keep on voting for the songs. Because you know what? There are only two ways the songs go. Up or down. It all depends on you guys, all right?
Number 27.
Let's hear it for Jason Derulo. Get ugly.
And that program is part of...
It's a weekly countdown.
Weekly countdown.
We call it the playlist every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
It's a very fast countdown. It's like squeezing 30 songs in 2 hours.
Now, where did you get or develop the accent that you have? I mean, you can speak Tagalog, or I listen to you almost every day.
Sometimes Bisaya.
Tapos, one thing I like about you is that when you speak Bisaya or Tagalog talaga.
Yes.
Bisaya talaga. You don't try to...
I do my best.
No, you don't try to put accent. Because there are some DJs who put accent in the Tagalog and Bisaya. And when you speak in English, you really speak like an American, a Californian accent.
Yeah. Part of my life, I actually grew up in the States for I spent 2 years. At the most informative age, actually. I was 6 years old. At the time of martial law, my father decided let's all migrate to the States. Kasi martial law at the time. So 1976. So we spent around a good 2 years there until my mom said, bahala na may martial law, uwi na tayo because naho-homesick ako. But during those times, sa aming magkapatid, I was the only one who really made an effort to retain that. So coming back from the States, diba, in your most informative years, you assimilate and then you get that, that accent. And then coming back sa Philippines, I would always practice that accent.
Great.
I would practice that accent every time. But my father would never talk to me in English. He would in the house we would speak Ilonggo or Bisaya or Tagalog. And then it took me some time again to get back to speaking Bisaya because at 6 to 7 years old, when your brain is like a sponge, it really retains what it can. So it took me another 2-3 years to get back to Bisaya and Tagalog. But that's the one thing I like is when you put me somewhere, it won't be hard for me to assimilate to get something. Like I stayed in Iloilo with my lola for some time, in less than a month, because I wanted to learn Ilonggo. In 2 weeks, then I started speaking Ilonggo with the twang.
Okay.
And then before, while I was still married, I in Oslo, I had to learn the language. Then I could speak the language.
You spoke the language and
with the twang also. I wanted to learn because I would listen to their radio. So they go like this. They would go like Nitini.fem FM, and they would go like that, and I would go like that in the house. Nitini.fem FM. What did he say? He said 99.5 FM. Oh, okay. So that's what he said. Okay. So parang I'm very thankful to God every time I go to church. That's the first thing I thank kay Lord. Thank you for blessing me with talent. And now at my age, which is not really a prime age in CHR format, in this type of format I'm in right now, I'm doing all I can to impart sa mga new talents. It's something that I now realize na God gave you talent, pay it forward. That's the least you can do.
This is CNN Philippines.
So, when you do these voice over, you change your voice. That's what I noticed. You can mimic actors, actors with like Liam Neeson.
Yeah. I can do that here.
I will find you, and I will kill you.
And then you can do my favorite, Sean Connery.
The Rock is now a tourist attraction.
And my all-time favorite, of course, James Earl Jones.
You are my son. You are my son, Hakeem.
I love doing that.
You should. Speaking of James Earl Jones, you should be copying him while you do the voice in CNN.
That's funny. You know, when I did that audition for them, I actually sent my take on a James Earl Jones attempt.
Okay.
So I met the guys there, and they said, anything but the James Earl Jones. Why? It's patented. Okay. You cannot do that. Okay. So you have to do your own style. Okay.
Let's listen to this.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So James would say,
"This is CNN."
he would go that way, and I would go like every day. I would go, "What did he say? What did he say?"
"This is CNN."
And I go, damn. It's like, wow, kaya pala yun.
Wait, I met Joe Cipriano in Los Angeles. You sound alike in your regular conversational voice. I mean, you sort of have the same pitch, you know? But how do you guys manage to go lower?
I had no formal training. Back in the 80s, kasi the only thing, there was no internet, there was just radio and TV. And having said that, I would spend more hours on TV while I was supposed to be studying. My dad doesn't know that. Takaw ako parati, and I would wait for anything that I would mimic. I love mimicking. It's something that keeps me sharp. When you start doing that, you find your own, kumbaga, range. You know, there's one thing that I'm not saying naman I'm blaming my father, but I got my father's voice. And this is not my father's voice. This is now a product of how many years of abusing your voice.
And cigarettes and alcohol.
And all these things. And my dad would say, ano na naman yan, sakit lalamunan mo. Ganun.
So that was your voice before?
That was smaller than that.
Smaller than that. Oh.
Parang galing ko noon kasi malala ko, and Dad, don't kill me. Back in high school, the guidance counselor would call the house. Kasi absent ako ng absent.
Oh.
So sabi ko, alam ko yan, mga 2 o'clock tatawagin ng school. So I'd wait up there the phone and pretend that I'm my dad. Sabi niya, hello. He's like, Doc, yung anak niyo po, ano, hindi po pumapasok. Gano'ng katagal na? 2 linggo. May sakit yan. Okay po. Thank you. Tapos. And I go, I have talent now. And then you just practice that, getting that low voice. I really hated my voice so much that every day I would get this glass, cover my mouth, and then this is just a funny exercise. I'm not saying you guys do this, but I would do that and cover my mouth, and then I would go the lowest tone, until your mouth gets filled up with air. So every day, sabi nga ng kaibigan ko, anong wisdom niyan? Sabi ko, ayan ko, baka ma-stretch lang yung vocal cords mo, parang ganun. Kasi di ba singers, they warm up, they go, ganun.
That's right.
Baka ganun din sa atin. Ganun. But eventually, I got it. I just got it because of the constant practice. Every time I board in the morning, it's now different because when you're in this radio format, you have to sound younger. So every morning when I warm up, it's always the reverse now. It's not I go the higher pitch para mag-loosen up yung chords mo. By the time it's 6 o'clock in the morning, my voice is not Darth Vader. Ngayon nga, you can't even sing because I used to also have a band. And being the lead vocalist in the band, when you would sing songs like U2, you know that these songs really would demand a lot from you. And now I can't hit those notes anymore. Talagang there's a certain limit na lang. Alam mong gas-gas na. Early 2000s, I was diagnosed with a node here on my chords already. There are 2 actually now. And I had a throat doctor see it. Sabi niya, hindi naman siya cancerous. And it's not growing. Yun lang don't abuse it. So I try to get as much sleep as I can to rest it. Kasi not like before na I could go like days and days of recording. Now, certain period I have to rest it.
I noticed that too in broadcast because I do the broadcast in the morning.
I can do you too. I can do your voice.
Sige, mamaya.
One for you, Martin. Idol kita.
Be sure to come back. News 5 everywhere. Copyright 2016.
Let's play one of your production materials again. Let's see. Okay, here it is.
Oh my God! Oh
yeah, my goodness!
Continuous music.
Heard live from Davao City, Philippines. 105.9 DXMX FM. Member KBP. The best mix of hip hop and R&B. Sunday rhythm and bounce. Davao City, turn it up loud. Loud. The best mix comes your way now.
That's 105.9 Mix FM Davao. Stinger.
Yeah.
Siguro grabe yung experience mo sa Davao City when you set that up, because that's, I mean, man, if you're a DJ, I was a DJ and I've always wanted to have a radio station. That's why I have this podcast now.
I love your man cave.
Thank you. Tell us about the experience in Mix FM. I thought you guys were really doing well.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we never lost. The only thing that happened at that time was I was already busy in local government.
Oh.
And then we also had other businesses to attend to aside from the station. And just so happened that it was a good offer. And even if I didn't want to, we had to, because it was a very viable option. So we let go. We sold it. And then we still have the other businesses running pa naman. But at least at some point you say, yeah, I did that.
You're still partnered with Mr. Ong.
Yes, we are.
Yes, Randall Ong. And you moved to the City Hall. You started working with a very famous Mayor Duterte, who's running for president now. And Sara Duterte, who's known for boom.
Yeah, I was there too.
That was a big shift.
It was a very colorful thing.
How was it? I mean, from FM radio, and now you're the main guy doing the media work for Davao City.
I think they noticed my work sa KBP. At that time, I assumed chairmanship kasi it was kind of a medyo turbulent time sa KBP. And then we managed to turn it around. When Mayor Roddy, was scouting for, we need young faces, we need young blood, ganun. I think it was the way we did it as a team. Nasabi nung mga kasama na, might want to consider him. And I owe it to some of the older media manongs. I call manongs. I call them all manongs out of respect. And when they recommended me, sabi ko, I cannot do that job. I don't want to. But then again, when Mayor Roddy said, you owe it to the city. You're not doing, this is beyond you. I could still remember that. Because when he called me to go to City Hall, and I thought they were kidding. I thought the past chairman of KBP who went to me sa Mix said, kakausapin ka daw ni Mayor Roddy. Ako? Sino ba ako? Hindi naman ako kilala ni Mayor Roddy at the time. When I got there, I was in sandals, maong, and t-shirt. My usual Davao get-up. Na I'm so at home with my barrio.
Yeah.
When I got there, oh no, si Mayor nga.
Totoo nga.
Yeah, and when he got to me, parang sabi niya, no, you owe it to the city. Siyempre, who am I to say no to Mayor Roddy?
Of course.
When he tells you straight eye to eye, you don't second guess already, because if he says, I know you can. So that was another step in my career that I would never thought na nababaan na pod ko.
Nababaan na pod ka.
Yeah, nababaan na pod ko.
What did you exactly do in the City Hall? Tourism, media?
I ran tourism operations for the entire city. I had no idea of what tourism was about. So I ran it with common sense. Sabi lang ni Mayor Roddy, see what needs to be fixed sa tourism industry. You know what it takes to be there on the front line for the tourist. Because Mayor Roddy says, I have so much on my plate. During his term, we were able to set up, actually, I gave him a policy framework. Sabi ko, Mayor Roddy, we are working without a policy framework here. Because at the end of his term, coming into Inday, I already turned over, I made this really good framework for comprehensive barangay ecotourism. I was just analyzing what the city had. Sabi ko, we don't have much funds for tourism infrastructure, but we do have the capacity to build it from community-based, which would set, in turn, the bigger picture to prepare these communities for tourism in a bigger perspective, which they liked. And I'm happy that some of the barangays now are using it. Again, having no idea about tourism.
Were you able to apply your media experience?
Of course, of course. It's in media. It's all about the presentation. So dazzle me. And then when I presented it, everybody liked it. I was happy. And then at that time, when Mayor Sara was proclaimed, I went immediately to her office and said, "Ma'am," she was still vice mayor at that time. Sabi ko, I'd like to let you know that the office that I'm in right now, I'm going to vacate na because I'm coterminous. But and then Mayor Inday just said, hindi pa ako nakatapos nun. She said, iiwanan mo na kami. Sabi ko, "Ma'am, I don't want to assume." Sabi niya, what if kung sabihin ko kailangan kita para tumulong uli? Sabi ko, then go. Next thing I knew, she goes like, at first, she goes like, okay, you take half of tourism and then you do city press. Because local media likes you. Because you're fast. You're quick to address. So at that time, when Mayor Inday started, I was handling 2 offices. I was, doon ako tumanda. Talagang first in, last out. Sabi ko, this is what it takes to be an employee, a servant. Okay naman siya eh. It's just like your body can only take so much. But it was something that I will never regret and look back and say, you know, I had the privilege to serve. Kahit hindi ka elected, you still had the privilege to serve. And looking back, when I Viber Inday up to today, you know, she would always ask about, remember the time about this, about that? Yeah, I remember the time. We would just laugh and then...
And she punched the sheriff,
And
right?
she punched the sheriff. Yeah.
How did you manage that situation, by the way?
Oh, that was really tough. What the people didn't know kasi at that time that I was with her even at the eve of the flash flood. Kasi magkapit-bahay lang kami.
Yes.
Like one house lang. I remember that it was 12 midnight. Her assistant called me, "Sir, kailangan po kayo ni ma'am sa public safety." Tingin ko, alas 12, umuulan sa labas. Akala ko lang it's regular rain. So when I got there, sabi ko, baha. Super baha. I saw Ma'am Inday na naka-jogging pants, chinelas, t-shirt lang. Sabi niya, I had to rush. She drove herself all the way to the public, because she couldn't wait for the bodyguards because of the flash flood. So I was there with her, public safety. The chief of traffic was there too. We were the ones coordinating with even the taxi cabs. This is what they don't know. Even the taxi operators on site were helping us with the radios. Okay, help this one. May ganito, may ganyan. This is what the people didn't know at that time. I say that because before that, her daughter kasi got admitted na. She was having this really hard time. She had a problem with her respiratory system. So that already was kind of giving Inday already stress. Personal life. And then here comes the flash flood. And then here comes the demolition. So wala na siyang tulog for like 2 days.
Init ulo?
Init na talagang ulo niya. But I was there because I knew it was something that, sabi ko, konting bagay na lang to. Something's about to, And the next thing I knew, Mayor Inday left me. All of a sudden. After 30 minutes, I think I got a call. Local networks already asking, totoo ba? So I had to rush to the area. And then I saw, ito pala yung
She
nangyari.
snapped for a reason pala.
Yeah.
Reasons that we don't know. Only now.
She really had her hands full. I mean,
but that was also unique in a way that social media was becoming the in thing in the Philippines, and that became really big.
Very big. It was one thing that Inday said she was never proud of, but it happened. We can't do anything about it anymore. I admire the Duterte spirit. There's one thing I learned from them: just keep your head up. If you knew that you did not do anything wrong.
You mentioned the Duterte spirit, and I was gonna just let it go. He's running for president.
Yeah.
You think he'd be a good president?
If I answer this question, it will be based on my experience, the privilege I had. Because to look back briefly lang, when I left that day, it was my last day, he was also like my dad. Because every time I would see him, he would always give me an advice. Like the first lesson I learned from Mayor Rodi was, never make me sign something and turn my back on people. That's a public document. If I sign something, let me sign it in front of people to see what I'm signing. I got called out for that, sabi niya. Kasi he has this weekly thing sa City Hall. So I had to present him a document, sabi niya. Senyor, he calls me Senyor, next time, if you make me sign something sa harapan ng tao, hindi yan tinatago. That's a public document. I never forget that. The same with Mayor Inday. The same thing. Ba't tayo nagtatago? Dito tayo. Ma'am said, dito tayo. How can you not admire people like them? The simplicity and the outward, the openness.
Transparency.
The transparency alone. They would feel better if we talk in public than we talk. Unless it's a sensitive matter like security. I say that because on the night I said goodbye na, ay paalam na ako. Tears, yakapan, said thank you, And then Mayor Rodi also the same thing. He just stood up and said, we owe you for the time that you have sacrificed. Sabi ko, no, I owe you. I owe the city. Sabi niya, anytime you want to help, we're here. Sabi ni Mayor Rodi. And I just found out from Mayor Rodi kasi why. My lolo pala and his father were also together, Undivided Davao. My lolo was the first city attorney, parang ganun, of the Undivided Davao. He was the right hand of then Governor Duterte. And Mayor Rodi told me, I was the little kid running between both offices.
Okay.
To send the secret messages daw.
So he saw you already before.
Para sabi niya na, that's why when I know your family.
Why did you leave Inday?